The Spoken Token is a proud member of the Pod Studio One podcast network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Summer of Games episode here at The Spoken Token. Summer is a time of family and travel and getting out and also of sharing. For gamers, that means oftentimes sharing games, which is why we celebrate this season. While this year's theme is not centered on family by title, know that with The Spoken Token, family is at the center of all we do. With that in mind, come along as Alex spends some time with his son Jackson talking about their experiences with Summoner Wars, and Larry spends a rousing afternoon with his siblings in a lively game of The Big Score. We wanted to share our experiences with you all and give you a glimpse of what life with board games looks like for the two of us and our families. So, sit back, relax, gather your family around, and turn us up as we join your hosts, Alex Wallace and Larry Neal, in a special Summer of Games episode of the Spoken Token podcast.
What's so funny, Jackson? This is only our third take. Are you okay?
Oh, you're recording?
Yes, I am recording. Hey, everybody, this is Alex here with a special co-host. So, co-host, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Jackson Wallace.
Yeah, this is the third time we've had to do this. The first time, I think Jackson swallowed a bug. And
It was my spit.
It was your spit. Okay. Well, hey, Jackson and I are going to talk today about a game that I have recently acquired and added to my collection. But this game is unique and special in a way, and it's something that Jackson and I have played together, and we really quite enjoy. So before we get Jackson's thoughts on the game itself, I do kind of want to walk through the story of this game, because this is sort of a fabled game for me. I guess, I don't know if fabled is the right word, but it makes me sound smart, doesn't it, Jackson?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's a dictionary that just grew legs and maybe got a brain.
You calling me a fat book?
Yes, I am calling you a fat book.
Oh, wow. I don't know how I feel about that. Great. Now, on the air, my own son is ridiculing me. This is just what I need for my self-esteem. I think I swallowed a bug. Well, regardless, so the game we're going to be talking about today is Summoner Wars 2nd Edition. And the reason I wanted to bring Jackson on this time was because about 9 years ago, in 2012, I acquired a copy of the first Summoner Wars. This was back in my days when I was looking for an alternative to Magic the Gathering. I really wanted a two-player battling card game that had a little bit of deck building in it. And Summoner Wars seemed to fit the bill. The problem is that when I got it, I explained to myself that, this is going to be the thing that I'm going to keep. And then when my son is old enough, Jackson was 2 at the time, he and I are going to play this together. And yeah, you know me, my patience. 2-year-olds can't play this. And I couldn't necessarily find a consistent gaming group to actually play this. And so this one did not stay in my collection very long. The sad part about that, I don't know if it's sad, I probably deserved it, but for several years, I really, really missed this game. I enjoyed it when I played it the first time. It was this great blend of chess, but card play, and so it hit a lot of buttons, but I got rid of it way too soon. So for those of you who don't know, Plaid re-released Summoner Wars with a 2nd edition. They updated the art, there were numerous expansions with the original, and that added a lot of new rules, so they streamlined all of the rules and kind of built the game, sort of hit the reset button, but built the game with a lot of the things that they discovered as the game went along into the new rule set. So this is not a 1.5. This is not just a re-release. This is actually this is a 2nd edition. They have updated the rules. Again, all new art. But for those of you who are familiar with Summoner Wars, you will be able to pick this game up and see the differences very quickly. Mm-hmm. Now, Jackson.
Uh-huh.
As someone, I'm so excited to actually talk to you about this game because you're the reason I got into this game in the first place. Mm-hmm. And so to actually finally have the opportunity to play this game with you, it was actually really exciting. What were your thoughts on the game?
I really liked it. The art was amazing, yes, and it was just all in all, awesome.
Okay, so you say awesome. Now, let's be a little bit more specific. When you say awesome, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
This is a really good board game, and I think it's planned out pretty good.
Okay. What about it helps you to enjoy it so much?
I kind of like the different factions. That's pretty cool.
Right. And so what Summoner Wars does is it gives the master set gives 6 pre-built factions. Each of them has the ability to be added into a customizable deck. So there's a lot of flexibility here. But each faction feels really unique and is designed in such a way to sort of play off a certain theme. So one of the last games that we played, you were the...
I was the polar dwarves, and he was the...
I think it was...
Savannah Elves.
Savannah Elves. I'm really glad that you know the names, because I was just like the ice dudes and then the cat people would have been what I did. But so you're the... when you were the polar dwarves... Sounds like something I would have been called in middle school. You know, that polar dwarf over there. But the polar dwarves, their whole mechanic was based on structures.
Yes, buildings and like moving those buildings around. And there was this one, actually 2, what's it called?
Units? Cards?
Units. That actually centered around these buildings that actually helped it a real bunch.
Yeah.
So
a real bunch.
A real bunch.
I think that's gonna be, if you ever go pro on these podcasting things, this is like, I like it a real bunch.
All right, but one of them was called the Ice Mage, and every building that was one space around that unit was an attack die.
Right, and so what's cool about this is that the statistics are not predetermined. So they have, as far as combat is concerned, each unit has a particular attack value. The attack value determines how many dice you roll. Now, what's neat about this is the dice are very much in the attacker's favor. There is the opportunity that you could miss, but not necessarily on a close combat roll. One of the things that I really, really enjoy about this, especially enjoy even over Magic itself, is that once a card is on the table, it actually then has the ability to move on a gridded space. So once something leaves your hand, it is then moved around like chess pieces and checker pieces. So it adds a whole new level of strategy, tactical nature that I really, really enjoyed. What did you feel? How did you feel? Was it fair? Was it balanced? Even though your dad is incredibly smarter than you.
Oh, that's real true. That's real true.
Thank you. So, did it feel fair?
Yes, it was really close, and as a very unexperienced gamer, I think I had a fair chance.
Yeah, you were in it to the very, very end. And one of the things I really I think is well done here, the way that you gather your resources to pay cards is very simple, and but ultimately, once your deck runs out, it all you do is then you have what's still on the board. So there's no the game doesn't end. It's just okay. Everything that you could have put out is now out. Can you use it to the best of your advantage?
Yeah, it's like do or die.
That's right. Yeah, and so it was tense. Everyone was in the game until the very last moment.
And each card has their own special abilities, which changes the whole game.
Yeah.
If you use those to your advantages, then it is like you can't be beat.
Oh yeah. Well, you can be beat because I did beat you.
It's a figure of speech.
Is it? Is it? What kind of figure? Is it like a round figure, a square figure?
Oh my goodness. You're so impossible.
I am so impossible. Learn it now, son, and you will not be disappointed later. So what would you say, how would you describe this game to a friend of yours, someone of your age?
I would describe it as maybe a must play.
Okay.
Because it is really well thought out of, and it's just great.
Who is this game not for?
It's not for people who, dramatic pause.
Obviously. Yes, because you don't. I stumped you, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So, I mean, do you think your mom would like this game?
It maybe or maybe not. There isn't a ton of puzzles, and she loves puzzles.
Yeah. So it's not for your puzzle lovers.
Uh-huh.
It is definitely direct conflict. So
Uh-huh.
you have to like fighting somebody.
Uh-huh.
Not like you and I don't punch each other, but
Well,
yes, you do have to battle. And so I will say this, that if you are looking for, there are a lot of really great 2-player tactical battle games out there. I talked about an episode or two ago about Undaunted Normandy, as that's a great one. War Chest is a great 2-player game. You've got Unmatched is great, and so. But I would put this as far as a 2-player direct conflict game. This one anybody could pick up. Very low learning curve. And it's just there. It's not a lot to think about, but all of your choices are very meaningful. So, all right, what else did you want to add?
Let's not forget the classic Battleship.
Battleship is a great 2-player game.
Even though pretty much the whole country knows about it.
Yeah, that's true. Most people are aware of Battleship. Now, what would you pick, this or Battleship?
I would. I love me a good game of Battleship, but I really like Summoner Wars.
Okay, so you would choose Summoner Wars?
Probably.
All right. Okay, you do look like a polar dwarf to me.
Thanks.
So, all right. So that's from Jackson and Alex. We highly recommend this game. Again, so Jackson is 11, and I even believe Benjamin, who is shortly turning 9, could pick this up and play this. It's not overwhelming. The text is really simple and easy. And again, it's not overtly inappropriate in the images. I think it's a great game, especially if you have, from kids to adults, if you're looking for a great 2-player game. All right, Jackson, final thoughts.
Well, and the art is fantastic.
What do you like about the art?
Well, it's just really realistic, but it's not.
It's not realistic at all.
It's not realistic, but it's a little cartoony.
Do you live in the cartoon world?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, is that why it's real to me? I am a cartoon, Dad.
I got my mallet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's bigger than my head.
Yeah, yeah. Again, the art is wonderful. It's kind of it is like Jackson said. It's evocative of cartoons and I guess realistic comic books. If you're
comic books.
Yeah,
I'd say more comic.
Yeah, and so it's really great. So go check this out. Have a blast playing it. If you have any reservations about it, Plaid Hat has done an awesome job, and they've actually concurrently released a browser-based version of this. It's a great way to check it out, and I think you can find that at their website, plaidhatgames.com. So if you're even interested in this, you can play with somebody online, or I think you can play solo as well. So that is Summoner Wars 2nd edition, a little special Jackson and Alex preview, review, first look, final impression, awesome dad-son, talkie McTalkenstein type thing.
That's what we call it. Let's go. That was really weird.
It's okay. You're working on your catchphrase. I like it.
Yes.
All right, Alex here with my pick for the game you should go and play tonight for Summer of Games, and that is Don't Mess with Cthulhu. This is a great little hidden trader, secret identity game from Indie Boards and Cards. The designer is Yusuke Sato. It's super easy. It helps you get that whole rebellion fix quick without a lot of rules explanations. It's a blast to play, and it can be played easily in 10 minutes. So that is Don't Mess with Cthulhu from Indie Boards and Cards. And so, for the spoken token, this is Alex Wallace saying, keep playing.
And Jackson Wallace.
Cool. Great. All right.
And now, a brief word from our sponsors.
We want to thank the sponsors of today's episode, our friends at Van Ryder Games.
Creators of award-winning games such as the single-player Hostage Negotiator and the One vs. Many Detective City of Angels.
You can find their full catalog of games, including their graphic novel adventures, at vanrydergames.com. That's VANRYDERGAMES.com, your FLGS, or wherever you buy your games online.
The Big Score. The very name invokes a smile and a giggle in the group. No one wants to admit it, but as a family, we tend to really enjoy games of this nature. It could say more about us than may be strictly comfortable, but we like to say it's because we like to spend so much time together playing board games. That's what I'm going with.
I sure hope this one goes different than the last one. I mean, I'm not sure
But I
I
do
can
the ones that
trust
don't-
any of y'all.
Put them under your trash can.
They just threw away easy money.
All right, we're moving on to job number one. Who's all in job number one? The premise of the game sees you running your own crime family, taking on small jobs and amassing wealth. In the game, there is a final big score at the end that each group deems too big to take on alone. And so they have agreed to a truce and will work together in order to all get a piece of the ultimate pie. Play starts as soon as you are faced with the first components of the game. Colorful, cartoony depictions of various figures who look to be the bad guys straight out of a Looney Tunes cartoon, or perhaps even a video game. Each with their own overstated personality and a bonus to take at the start of the game. The choice here, while not earth-shattering, does a great job at informing a direction for playing the game at large, something that is highly valuable in a game with so many choices otherwise on offer. Next, a hand of 7 cards is dealt out to each player. However, and here is one of the delightful parts of the game's design, you will keep one of them and pass the rest of your hand to the left or the right, depending on the round. This is known in board game circles as a draft mechanic. Usually reserved for highly competitive card games like Magic the Gathering, it is not only welcome here, but is one of the standout design cues that helps this one move right along. Once all the drafting is complete, this hand of 7 cards are the specialist you have command of to send out to the various jobs at your bidding secretly. The jobs themselves are represented with oversized, colorful cards that are displayed on the table and numbered 1 through 6. Each card depicts the place that is the target, the number of specialists needed to be successful, and the rewards for sending the right mix of crew in the right numbers. Secretly, each player places the cards of the specialist that they want under their number standee that matches the job's number on the table. This is done simultaneously, so it cuts down on turn time in the game and as another smart design cue. When this is complete, each job is tallied in order, with the players revealing the various cards they have committed to that job. The ones that are successful pay out their listed rewards. The ones that are not cost those who entered $20,000 each. No one said the life was a scot-free endeavor after all. This continues for each of the 6 jobs, and then a new round starts.
Somebody flip job number 4 for me. Who's on job number 4?
Loki. That's me. Anchoring.
Look at what you did.
I can't get it.
I did it. Ha!
Cool.
I brought it home.
We all get 100. That's the way that's supposed to go. Now you being a crime family. Yeah, pick those up for me, John.
The Ice Queen don't always be making decisions that make sense. So, I suggest y'all not
The
trust her.
decisions make sense to the Ice Queen.
They really should.
The Ice Queen.
Job
does
number
not
5.
make
Who's on number
decisions
5?
You want her to make.
Lays them out.
We've got enough conmen,
We got
enough
it.
gunmen,
And we got
one
one hacker.
hacker.
I had 3
We
greasemen.
gotta have 3 greasemen. I only see one.
and
Oh my
see
God.
one
All right, everybody's involved, so take your
token.
jack of all trades, put it under the table. What do we need? 2 of those? So 2 of us needs to use this, or we gonna all lose $20,000. Let me just remind everybody of that. So to use it, put it in the hand that you bring out. To not use it, bring out a closed fist that's empty. Everybody ready?
No. I'm not ready.
I don't know what the
I'm
conversation.
still thinking.
That you would rather spend 20 instead of gaining 100?
Yeah, because if we don't have enough, then we all lose 20 versus we all gain 100.
I just need to trust 2 of y'all to do it, is what I hear you saying.
Well,
Thank you.
seeing as how disappointed I am that nobody else went after that 100K, I think it's a safe bet that we all know I want the 100K.
Because if I use it, what if we all flip it? Then 2 people just wasted it, right?
But it didn't cost you
But it didn't
$20,000.
cost us $20,000.
Gotta make your decision.
I'm making a decision right now. Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. Up. Everybody flip.
Yes! Give me my money.
Because we all put in, we're gonna get ours first.
I don't care. I'm still
sure-
gonna get it.
I'm sure you don't.
Look, the last 100,000
Are you though?
is still 100,000.
Are you though?
Still 100,000.
I should give you 5 20s.
Okay.
10 10s. Give you 2 50s.
100's 100.
All right. Can you flip that one over for me to the black so we know that we did it?
This
And
one.
then, yep, number 6. Who
2 unique parts come up here. 1. When the cards are drafted each time, the direction changes based on the round. This is represented on all of the character player boards. And 2. When a job is short, those who have participated have the option of using a special envoy, a jack of all trades, if you will, to try and put the job over the top. Each participating player takes their piece, brilliantly created here in the form of a ceramic poker chip. This is one of the upgrades from the Kickstarter version, and places it under the table. Then you bring out both hands and reveal simultaneously. If the chip is there in your hand, you have committed your chip, and you can enter it as whatever is needed to help pass. If not, you didn't enter it, and the job may still fail, costing you and everyone else in the job $20,000. The table talk here is lively and moves briskly. The smiles on the faces when trying to deduce who is going to help and who is not is priceless. The laughs and joyful noises that erupt from the table have been present at every playthrough of this game for me. A very good sign, and one of the reasons I'll always want to get this one out for groups up to the player count max of 6. After just 3 rounds of this portion of the game, it's time to head to the game's titular big score. A fantastic 3D depiction of Centennial City Bank that comes in the box.
How come these little pieces are all on the bottom?
I
Stuff.
guess you're gonna pull one out.
I mean, I can switch to the bag. That's what the bag is for. We can pass the bag if you want to do these. I just thought I thought it looked neat because it's the little 3D bank.
It is pretty cute. Ooh, I didn't get a photo.
Not only is this a great visual representation that sits on your table, but it is functional. It holds the markers for the next phase of the game. Optionally, a bag comes in the box to hold the markers if you're concerned about the building standing up to all of the hands digging around inside of it. So far, after several repeated plays, mine is doing just fine, but I will admit that we've used the bag on at least one occasion. In this phase, the game shifts to a decidedly modern hobby board game gear by completely changing up the core mechanics of how you play the game. It's a design innovation that I think is a wonderful tool for increasing
Only
immersion.
need really one of your dudes. It doesn't matter which one.
We can just toss them out to the middle there to kind of prove it, to show that you're in it.
You get on out there.
Don't need that.
Five, you get on out there.
Don't need that. No. Keep your stash.
3.
All right, we are in Act 2, Big Storm. It is also incredibly difficult to pull off because while it can feel fresh and always changing, it can also alienate your players and make them feel like one portion of the game or the other is largely unimportant. I believe here they have nailed that fine line, as both halves work well towards helping you to win. And while the base mechanics are different, the elements learned and used in the first half apply here. They apply to the group you are playing with now, and so it all feels connected, excited, and well done. In player order, players take turns taking one token out of your vessel of choice and not looking at it, keeping their hands closed until everyone has taken something. Then together you reveal.
Are we supposed to get some more?
Yes, yep. Doesn't matter what order. Just for the picking. If Nikki trades before, you get the diamond.
I don't have to see nothing.
Well, except I can steal one of the diamonds if I steal it for trading together.
We should do that.
Yeah, I was trying to get somebody trained this time. I didn't get a chance to. We ready? I'll jump in that drum.
Yeah.
Is there something in my hand? Is there? Is it empty?
Here we go. 1,
Boom,
2,
boom.
3.
Oh, shucks.
Laura got a cop. Jonathan was out. He's stealing a diamond. So we put the cop there. You're not gonna get to pick. Nikki, you're first. You can either take one of those items or keep the item.
I mean, this is.
I'll keep the item.
Okay, you'll keep the first player marker. I'm gonna keep mine too. You only lose it if you trade with the
I don't
floor.
get the first player marker then?
Not until she trades with the floor. If she doesn't trade with the floor, you don't. The game's use of this in the first half of the game lays brilliantly here. Those that have a token are still in and will get their chance to score their loot. But first, any police tokens pulled are placed on a timer countdown board. When this fills up, the game is over. More on that in a moment. Then, in player order, players may choose to either keep their hand loot or trade it with the vault floor, which is 5 random tokens that are set outside of the draw container at the start of this phase on the table in pure sight for everyone to see. When all choices or trades have been made, a new round starts. The first player marker moves based on trading with the floor and continues until enough police markers have been drawn to signal the end of the game. You count up the loot, and the highest value amount wins the game. It is notable here that there are modern touches in this part of the game, with both cash and jewels, those staples of these types of affairs. There's also artwork and the more esoteric but period-relevant data drives, all on offer, and all of these things are spoils. There are many paths to score points here. The depth is welcome and well-placed to the setting. Multipliers on the statues and diamonds allow one to concentrate on those. The data drives come locked and will require keys obtained in the vault phase to be unlocked and therefore to make them worth anything. And then, of course, there's just the other regular cash and other jewels. More depth comes in training specialists. The layers here are subtle, but they offer a deeper play experience while not being overly intrusive. This adds up to replayability and good value in the box. It's all very interactive, very colorful, and is ripe for families to laugh and share table talk as they get to showcase parts of their personalities and relationships that may otherwise not be seen in this setting. Everybody has to go in. You don't have to come out with something, but you got to go in.
Aw, man.
Oh, is it worth trying?
Did you pick something?
I was waiting for you.
I'm not sitting on the one.
I mean, I am, but there is just the slightest hint of a chance I
What?
could get something.
I got
You
mine.
got to put your hand in regardless.
I went in.
Your mom didn't know.
Yeah,
She didn't bring one out.
Busted.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. Oh, shit.
That's why I didn't do it. Because I knew somebody was
Did you
gonna
take
get
something?
caught.
I took some.
Oh,
You busted, Chief. You lose all your circles.
I lose all my circles too?
Yes.
But I
My
know
little circles?
I know
Everything
Lucy
that's a circle.
circles.
You get to keep
I
yours.
know Lucy circles.
All right, and then we count up the money.
Lori doesn't know what she's doing. Blah, blah, blah. Lori just won.
In other words, it's a fantastic example of a modern-day hobby board game and why they are so popular and so valuable to our shared experience. The Big Score is published by Van Ryder Games and supports 1 to 6 players ages 10 to adult. Playtime ranges from 30 to 60 minutes, and the game is designed by Jason Mallory, Chase Williams, and AJ Porfirio, and it was originally released in 2018. It is available at your friendly local game stores, your friendly online local game stores, or directly from Van Ryder Games. All right, everybody, it's Larry back here. It's time for my Summer of Games recommendation. The second game that I'm recommending this summer is the wonderful game Hues and Cues. And this one is designed by Scott Brady, and it was published by the Op, formerly of USA Opoly fame, and it was released in 2020. This is a clever title game that goes up to about 10 players. And what you're doing in this one is Hues and Cues. It's right there in the name. The board game is a beautiful mosaic of colors. We've talked about it on the show before. And each one of the colors is numbered. There's a space, both row and column. And the game consists of a bunch of cards. What you do in a turn is the cue giver. You get a card that has 4 of those colors on it. You pick one of the 4, and based on the rules in the game, you give a 1-word clue about which hue it is that you've picked out. And then each of the people that are playing with you, the other players in turn, they get to, in player turn order, place their markers down on what they think is the color. At this point, there's a little bit of strategy into what would otherwise be considered a big group party game, and that you can give a second clue or cue. This one can be 2 words instead of just the 1, or you can stop there. At that point, there is a small 9x9 grid template in the box that you put down with the color that you chose right in the middle. And then points are distributed based on who's inside the template, who's just outside the template, or if someone landed directly on the template. So each player turn, everyone can score points, which is what makes this a fantastic family game. Trying to figure out the cues within the rules in the book are just hilarious. So you get yourself a big group of people that you know fairly well, or maybe even strangers. It is a blast. Watching the faces of the cue givers as they see people put their pawns way away from it and realizing, wow, I gave a bad cue. I need to give a better cue next time. Or when they're trying to contain their excitement when they're thinking, wow, I'm going to get 4 or 5 people inside. This is fantastic. I had a 7-player game recently, and it was simply a blast. This one, again, is readily available. It's, again, made by the OPA, the Formula USA Opoly, the same company. They've just done a little bit of rebranding there. It's Hues and Cues, designed by Scott Brady, published by the Op, released in 2020. Go out and find this one. It'll play a larger number of people, so you can get the whole family involved. You can split up into teams, so if your family's even larger, you can still get everybody in on it, and the game is a blast. So go out, play this one right now. You will not regret it. You will have a good time. It'll be a wonderful party game to add to your collection. That's Hues and Cues. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. We're glad you came and spent some more time with us as we do something a little different this time. The families were kind of on the move and doing a lot of things, so Alex and I put some other things together so that we could kind of share our experience with living with games with you. We hope you enjoyed it. We really appreciate you coming out and speaking with us, or spending time with us, rather. So for the Spoken Token, this is Larry Neal saying, keep communicating. This has been the Spoken Token Podcast. If you would like to interact with us, please find us at Facebook at The Spoken Token, on Instagram at The Spoken Token Podcast, Our Twitter account is @TheSpokenToken. Email is thespokentokenpodcast@gmail.com. And our BGG guild number is 2656.
You are listening to a Pod Studio One Podcast Network podcast. Find more great podcasts at www.podstudio1.com.